Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's lesson. We will explore the life of Napoleon Bonaparte, a significant figure from European history. He was a strong leader, a brave soldier, and a powerful emperor. We will listen to his life story, divided into 10 easy-to-understand chapters. This will provide an excellent opportunity to practice your English listening comprehension. We will utilize simple vocabulary and short sentences. You will hear the correct pronunciation of words and expand your vocabulary. Additionally, you will gain insights into a fascinating period of history. You will learn why Napoleon's impact on Europe is still discussed today.
Greetings, everyone. I am Napoleon Bonaparte, and I'm here today in spirit to tell you the story of my life. We will talk about 10 important parts of my life. We'll start from when I was a young boy on the island of Corsica, and then follow my journey as I became a soldier, and finally, the Emperor of France. Please listen carefully to my words. By listening, you will learn about European history and practice your English listening skills. You will get better at understanding spoken English and learn how to recognize different kinds of sentences. Imagine we are traveling back in time together. I will guide you through my experiences, my battles, and the important decisions I made. Let's begin our journey and explore the story of my life together. Chapter 1. A Boy from Corsica. I was born on August 15th, 1769, in Ajaccio. It's a town on the island of Corsica. Imagine a place with tall mountains and a beautiful blue sea. That was my home. My family, the Bonapartes, were not rich, but we were noble. This means we had a good name and were respected. We were Corsicans, and we were proud of that. Even though France had just taken control of our island, we still felt Corsican first. My house was not big, but it was full of life. My mother, Letizia, was a strong woman. She taught me to be brave and to work hard. My father, Carlo, was a lawyer. He taught me to read and write. I had many brothers and sisters. We played together, we fought together, and we learned together. As a boy, I was small and thin. Some people said I looked weak, but inside I was strong. I had a big will. This means I wanted things very much, and I worked hard to get them. I loved to read books. I read stories about great leaders and brave soldiers. I dreamed of being like them. I wanted to be a hero. I remember looking at the sea and imagining far-off lands. I imagined leading armies and winning battles. I knew I was different from other boys. I had big dreams. When I was 9 years old, my father sent me to school in France. It was a big change. I had to leave my family and my home. I had to learn French. It was hard. The other boys made fun of me. They laughed at my Corsican accent. They called me names because I was small, but I did not let them stop me. I worked hard in school. I studied math and history. I learned about war and strategy. I knew these things would be important for my future. I knew I had to learn to command. I spent my free time reading about the great military leaders of the past. I felt lonely in France. I missed my family. I missed Corsica. But I knew I had to stay. I knew I had to learn. I knew I had to become strong. I knew I was destined for great things. Even as a young boy, I felt that I had a purpose. I felt that I was meant to do something important. And deep inside, I knew that one day I would make my mark on the world. Chapter 2. The Soldier's Path. At the age of 16, I finished school and became a second lieutenant in the French army. This was a big step for me. Finally, I was a soldier. I was ready to use all the things I had learned. The army was a place where I felt I belonged. I liked the order and the discipline. I liked the feeling of being part of something bigger than myself. I was good at planning and thinking about battles. I was good at looking at a situation and seeing what to do. I was brave, and I was not afraid to take risks. I worked hard and learned quickly. I studied the art of war. I read books about famous battles and generals. I watched how the older officers did their jobs. I learned from their mistakes and their successes. I wanted to be the best. In the early 1790s, France was in trouble. The French Revolution was happening. This was a time of big changes. The old king was gone. People were fighting for freedom and equality. But there was also chaos and violence. Many other countries were at war with France. This was my chance. It was a chance for me to show what I could do. I was given my first important job at the siege of Toulon. Toulon was a city in the south of France. The British Army had taken control of it. We had to get it back. The situation was difficult. The French army was not doing well, but I saw a way to win. I made a plan to use our artillery. Artillery are big guns that shoot far. I placed the guns in a good position, and we attacked the British ships. We forced them to leave. We won the battle. This victory was very important. It showed everyone that I was a good commander. People started to notice me. I became famous. I was promoted to the rank of brigadier general. This was a big jump in my career. I felt proud of my achievement. I knew that I had made a difference. I knew that I had helped France. I also knew that this was just the beginning. I had many more battles to fight and many more victories to win. I was on the path to becoming a great leader. I was on the soldier's path. Chapter 3, Rising Star. After the victory at Toulon, my name was known. People started to say, Napoleon Bonaparte is a brilliant commander. I was given more important jobs in the army. I was trusted to lead bigger groups of soldiers. One of my most important jobs was in Italy. France was fighting Austria there. Austria was a powerful country with a big army. Many generals had tried to defeat them, but they had failed. I took command of the French army in Italy. The soldiers were tired and hungry. They didn't have good equipment, but I believed in them. I gave them new energy. I told them we could win. I planned battles very carefully. I knew how to use my soldiers. I knew how to surprise the enemy. We won many battles. We defeated the Austrians again and again. My victories in Italy made me even more famous. People called me a hero. I was not just a good soldier. I was also a good leader. I knew how to talk to my soldiers. I knew how to make them believe in me. I treated them with respect. They followed me because they trusted me. While in Italy, I also learned about politics. I saw how important it was to have a strong government. France needed a leader who could bring order and peace. The government in France was weak. It was not doing a good job. I started to think about how I could help France. I believed that I could make the country strong again. I believed that I could bring peace and prosperity. When I returned to France, people cheered for me. They saw me as the man who could save the country. I was a rising star. My victories in Italy had made me famous. My leadership had made me respected. I was ready to take on a bigger role. I knew that I had a chance to change France. I wanted to make it a great nation. I wanted to make it the most powerful country in Europe. I felt that it was my destiny. I knew that I was on my way to becoming a great leader, and the world would soon know my name. Chapter 4, First Consul. When I returned from Italy, France was still in trouble. The government was weak, and people were unhappy. I knew I had to do something. I worked with others to change the government. We made a new government with 3 consuls. I became the first consul. This meant I was the most powerful person in France. Being first consul was a big job. I had to fix many problems. First, I wanted to make France strong and organized. I created a new set of laws called the Napoleonic Code. These laws made things fair for everyone. They made it easier to understand the rules. Before, the laws were confusing. I also worked to improve economy. I knew that a strong country needs a strong economy. I created the Bank of France. This helped businesses to grow. I built new roads and bridges. This made it easier to travel and trade. I wanted France to have good infrastructure. Education was also important to me. I believed that everyone should have the chance to learn. I improved the schools. I wanted to create a system where the smartest people could rise to the top no matter where they came from. I wanted to make sure that France had the best educated people. I also wanted to bring peace to France. The French Revolution had caused a lot of fighting. I worked to make peace with other countries. I wanted France to be safe. I knew that people needed peace to be happy and to work hard. One thing that was very important to me was to bring back stability. The revolution had caused a lot of changes, and many people were unsure about the future. I knew that religion was important to many people, so I worked to make peace with the Catholic Church. This helped to bring back a sense of order. I worked very hard every day. I wanted to make France a better place. I wanted to make it the best country in the world. I knew that I could do it. I had a vision for France. I wanted to create a strong, united, and prosperous nation, and I was determined to make that vision a reality. As first consul, I was able to begin making my vision a reality. Chapter 5, Emperor of France. After being first consul, I felt that I could do even more for France. I believed that France needed a strong leader, a leader with the title of emperor. In 1804, I made myself Emperor of France. This was a grand ceremony. I put the crown on my own head. This showed that I was in charge. As emperor, I wanted to create a great empire like the Roman Empire. I wanted France to be the most powerful nation in Europe. I wanted to make France the center of the world. To do this, I needed a strong army. I built a very large and powerful army. I gave my soldiers good training and good equipment. I was a great leader and they trusted me. We won many important battles. One of my most famous victories was the Battle of Austerlitz. We defeated the Austrian and Russian armies. It was a great victory. Another important battle was the Battle of Jena. We defeated the Prussian army. These victories made France even more powerful. I conquered many countries in Europe. I made my brothers and sisters kings and queens of these countries. I wanted my family to share in my success. I wanted to create a dynasty, a family that would rule for many years. I also worked to improve France. I built new buildings and monuments. I wanted Paris to be a beautiful city. I wanted France to be a place of art and culture. However, being emperor was not only about glory and power. There was also a lot of responsibility. I had to make important decisions every day. I had to think about the needs of my people. I had to deal with enemies who wanted to stop me. I believed that I was doing what was best for France. I wanted to create a strong and united Europe. I wanted to bring peace and prosperity to the continent. But war is never easy. I saw many soldiers die. I saw the suffering that war causes. It was a heavy burden. I knew that my ambition was great and that it would create enemies. But I believed that my vision for France was worth fighting for. I truly believed that I was making a better world. Chapter 6, Personal Life. My life was not just about battles and ruling. I also had a personal life. It was complicated, with both happiness and sadness. In 1796, I married Josephine de Beauharnais. She was a beautiful woman. She was charming and elegant. I loved her very much. We had many good times together. She was a good friend and advisor to me. However, Josephine could not give me a son. This was a problem. I wanted a son to continue my family's rule. I believed that a strong empire needed a strong leader from my family to follow me. It was important for the future of France, I thought. This was a very difficult decision, but in 1809, I divorced Josephine. It was one of the saddest days of my life. I still cared for her, but I knew I had to do what I thought was best for France. After the divorce, I married Marie-Louise. She was the daughter of the Emperor of Austria. This was a political marriage. It was meant to create peace between France and Austria, but I also grew to care for her. Marie-Louise gave me a son, Napoleon II. I was very happy. I loved my son very much. I wanted him to have a good life. I wanted him to become a great leader like me. I spent as much time with him as I could. My family was very important to me. I had many brothers and sisters. I wanted them to be successful. I made my brother Joseph the King of Spain. I made my brother Louis the King of Holland. I made my brother Jerome the King of Westphalia. I wanted my family to share my power and success. I also had many friends and advisors. They helped me to make important decisions. I valued their opinions. I tried to treat everyone fairly. But being emperor was lonely. I had a lot of pressure. I had to make difficult choices. I had to deal with enemies. I had to worry about the future of France. Sometimes I felt very alone. I missed the simpler days of my youth. My personal life was full of ups and downs. I had love and success, but I also had sadness and loss. It was a reflection of the complicated times I lived in. I did my best to balance my personal life with my responsibilities as emperor. Chapter 7. The Downfall. My ambition was very big. I wanted to control all of Europe. I wanted to make France the most powerful country in the world. This led to many wars, and it led to my downfall. One of my biggest mistakes was invading Russia in 1812. I had a huge army, but the Russian winter was too strong. It was very cold, and my soldiers were not prepared. We lost many men. Many died of cold and hunger. The Russian army also used a clever strategy. They retreated and burned their own villages. This made it hard for my army to find food and supplies. My army became weak and tired. The invasion of Russia was a disaster. It was a turning point. Other countries saw that I was not invincible. They saw that I could make mistakes. They formed an alliance against me. This means they joined together to fight me. The countries of Europe, like Britain, Prussia, and Austria, joined forces. They had a bigger army than mine. They attacked France. I fought bravely, but I could not win. In 1814, they captured Paris, the capital of France. I was forced to give up my throne. This means I had to stop being emperor. It was a very sad day for me. My enemies sent me to the island of Elba. It was a small island in the Mediterranean Sea. They wanted to keep me away from France. They wanted to make sure I could not cause any more trouble. But I did not give up hope. I still believed in myself. I still believed that I could return to power. I knew that many people in France still supported me. I felt that I had unfinished business. My downfall was a result of many things. My ambition, my mistakes, and the strength of my enemies. I had pushed too hard. I had tried to do too much. But even in defeat, I did not lose my spirit. I knew that I would find a way to return. I was Napoleon Bonaparte, and I refused to be defeated. I knew that my story was not over. I had to find a way to return to France and to regain my power. Chapter 8. The 100 Days. Even on the small island of Elba, I did not lose hope. I watched and waited. I heard news from France. People were unhappy with the new king. They missed the time when I was in charge. They remember my victories and my reforms. In 1815, I decided to act. I escaped from Elba. It was a daring plan. I took a small ship and sailed back to France. When I landed, soldiers were sent to capture me. But when they saw me, they joined my side. They remembered me. They shouted, "Vive l'Empereur! Long live the Emperor!" The people welcomed me back. They were happy to see me. They believed I could bring back the glory of France. I marched towards Paris, and more soldiers joined me. The new king fled. I was back in power. This period is known as 100 days. I worked quickly to rebuild my army. I knew I had to act fast. The other countries would not let me stay in power. They would try to stop me again. I prepared for war. I gathered my soldiers and marched towards Belgium. I knew the British and Prussian armies were gathering there. I wanted to defeat them before they could join together. We met at a place called Waterloo. The battle was long and hard. My soldiers fought bravely. We almost won, but the Prussian army arrived to help the British. They attacked us from the side. The battle was lost. It was a terrible defeat. My army was destroyed. I had to give up again. This time there was no escape. I tried to flee to America, but the British captured me. They sent me to a very remote island called St. Helena. It was far away in the Atlantic Ocean. They wanted to make sure I could never return to France. The 100 days was a short time, but it was a time of great excitement. I had returned to power. I had given France hope again, but it ended in defeat. It was a sad end to my military career. I had tried to do too much. I had risked everything, and I had lost. But even in defeat, I showed that I was a man of great courage and determination. My return from Elba was a testament to my will. Chapter 9, Exile and Reflection. St. Helena was a lonely and isolated place. It was a small island in the middle of a vast ocean. The British wanted to keep me far away from Europe. They wanted to make sure I could never cause trouble again. Life on St. Helena was very different from my life as emperor. I lived in a small house. I was watched by British guards all the time. I was not allowed to go where I pleased. I was very restricted. I had time to think about my life. I thought about my victories and my defeats. I thought about my family and my country. I spent a lot of time reflecting on my past actions. I wrote my memoirs. This is a book about my life. I wanted to tell my story in my own words. I wanted people to know the truth about me. I wanted to explain my decisions. I walked around the island. I looked at the sea. I talked to my friends and followers who had come with me. We talked about the past. We talked about the future. We talked about France. I miss France very much. I miss my son, Napoleon II. I miss my old life. I miss the excitement of being emperor. I miss the feeling of making history. The British guards made my life difficult. They did not treat me well. They gave me little information about the outside world. They wanted to keep me isolated. This made me feel very lonely and sad. I became ill. I felt weak and tired. Some people say I was poisoned, but I think I just became sick from being on the island. The climate and the general state of my health had been failing for some time. I had much time to think about my legacy. What would people remember about me? Would they remember my victories? Would they remember my mistakes? Would they remember my ambition? I hoped that people would remember my achievements. I hoped that they would remember the good things I did for France. I hoped that they would learn from my story. Even in exile, I did not lose my spirit. I was still Napoleon Bonaparte. I was still a man of strong will. I still believed in my destiny. I still hoped that one day my story would inspire others. I wanted people to dream big and to work hard for their goals. Even on a small island, my mind was still full of big ideas. Chapter 10, Legacy. I died on May 5th, 1821, on the island of St. Helena. I was 51 years old. My life was over, but my story was not. My legacy is complicated. This means that people have different opinions about me. Some people think I was a hero. They remember my victories and my reforms. They think I made France strong and powerful. Other people think I was a tyrant. They remember the wars I started and the people who died. They think I was too ambitious and that I caused a lot of suffering. I believe that I did what I thought was best for France. I wanted to create a strong and united nation. I wanted to bring peace and prosperity to Europe. I made mistakes, but I also achieved great things. I created the Napoleonic Code. This is a set of laws that are still used in many countries today. It made the laws clear and fair. I improved education and the economy. I built roads and bridges. I made France a modern country. I also inspired many people. I showed that it is possible to rise from humble beginnings to become a great leader. I showed that hard work and determination can lead to success. My story is a story of ambition, power, and loss. It is a story of a man who changed the world. It is a story that people still talk about today. I hope that people will remember me for my achievements. I hope that they will remember the good things I did for France. I hope that they will learn from my mistakes. I wanted to leave a mark on the world. I wanted to make a difference. I believe that I did. My name is still known around the world. My story is still told. I hope that my story will inspire others to dream big and to work hard for their goals. I hope that they will learn from my successes and my failures. I hope that they will strive to make the world a better place. Even though I am gone, my legacy lives on. My ideas and my actions continue to influence the world. I am Napoleon Bonaparte, and my story will never be forgotten. I hope that people will remember that I tried to make a better world, even if I did make mistakes along the way.